Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and today we're continuing with our ChiBi Let's Talk Lore series. We left off with Zhou Yu, eager to show off his abilities to trick Cao Cao to Zhuge Liang. So of course, message boy Lu Su is sent off to talk to Zhuge Liang. And as Lu Su entered Zhuge Liang's little boat, Zhuge Liang kicked off the conversation first by congratulating Zhou Yu. Even though Lu Su knows exactly what Zhuge Liang is talking about, he does what he does best and acts dumb and asks Zhuge Liang what he means. Zhuge Liang explains how Zhou Yu's big feast last night for his old friend, Jiang Gan, was clearly a trap to trick Cao Cao's spy to work for him. Now that he sent you over, it must mean his plan has worked, and now he wants to show off to me, so tell me what he did. Lu Su reluctantly tells Zhuge Liang that words on the street is that Cao Cao has executed Cai Mao and Zhang Yun and handed the navy over to Yu Jin. Zhuge Liang laughs and says, then I should doubly congratulate Zhou Yu, for now he has probably just won the war. Letting someone like Yu Jin, who lived his whole life on horseback, train northerners to fight on boats, is the same as sending his men straight to the fishes. But please make sure you don't tell Zhou Yu that I knew all of this. Just say I didn't know, or else Zhou Yu is going to get jealous again and he'll probably going to try to kill me. However, since Lu Su works for Zhou Yu, he dutifully informs Zhou Yu about everything that Zhuge Liang says, and sure enough, Zhou Yu's jealous nature kicks in again, and a new plan to kill Zhuge Liang is hatched in Zhou Yu's mind. So the next day at a meeting, Zhou Yu invites Zhuge Liang over to attend as well, and halfway through the meeting, Zhou Yu starts to quiz Zhuge Liang by asking him, what do you think the most important weapon for naval combat is? Zhuge Liang answers, arrows are the most important weapon for naval warfare. Zhou Yu slaps his leg and says, exactly. And right now, we have an issue. We don't have enough arrow right now. We sorely need 100,000 new arrows to be able to fight Cao Cao. Do you think we can trouble you to supervise the construction of these arrows? Of course, we'll provide you with the necessary people and material, but we just need you to supervise the people to ensure that they get built right. Zhuge Liang hears this and knows right away this was another one of Zhou Yu's plan to kill him. If you think about it, Zhuge Liang is a strategist borrowed from Liu Bei to fight this war. At the very least, he's a strategist and a guest. To have him supervise artisans to make arrows should be a task that is much beneath him. So this is definitely something planned for him. But Zhuge Liang can't lose face and just back down, so he agrees and asks Zhou Yu, when does he need these arrows by? Zhou Yu smiles and says, this war has already started. These supplies are urgent military supplies, so I can only allow you 10 days. Zhuge Liang hears this and quickly realizes that Zhou Yu wants to equate this simple task to a military operation, meaning that if he fails or for whatever reason, then Zhou Yu would have every right as the commander-in-chief to punish or even execute him for sabotaging a military operation. Knowing this trap, Zhuge Liang decides to fight back with his own plan to embarrass Zhou Yu once and for all, so Zhou Yu can learn his place and stop wasting his time and energy on thinking about how to kill allies. So Zhuge Liang tells Zhou Yu, if it's such a military important mission, then 10 days is simply too long. I can do it in 3. Zhou Yu flinches, but quickly agrees and warns Zhuge Liang that boasting and lying are not tolerated in his army. So if you don't turn in 100,000 arrows at the end of the 3 days, then it's off with your head. Zhuge Liang nods and takes his leave. On the first day, Zhuge Liang did not request any supplies, no bamboo, no feather, and no workers. He simply stayed inside his little boat, drank some tea, and rested. On the second day, Lu Su, who felt guilty that he reported everything back to Zhou Yu, comes to visit Zhuge Liang to see how he's doing. After all, Lu Su knows he's the one who invited Zhuge Liang over to Wu in the first place, so he felt doubly responsible for the current situation that Zhuge Liang finds himself in. Zhuge Liang sees Lu Su come in and start complaining. Clearly, you told Zhou Yu everything, and now he planned this impossible mission to kill me. Lu Su argues back, you could have 10 days. Zhuge Liang cuts him off. Even if I've taken the offer for 10 days, Zhou Yu would have cut corners in my supplies, or not give me enough workers. So I don't see any difference for me asking for 3 days. Lu Su then says, Well, what are you going to do then? It seems like you've just given up. Zhuge Liang smiles and says, well, Lu Su, I need your help. Lu Su asks, what can I do? Zhuge Liang says, I need you to prepare me 20 small boats. Stack the deck with hay and blue cloth. I also need 30 capable rowers and 1 drum for each of the ships. And also, please keep this a secret from Zhou Yu if you don't want to see me dead. Lu Su agrees and asks why Zhuge Liang needs these things. Zhuge Liang simply shakes his head and tells Lu Su, please just have everything ready and meet me at the docks tomorrow morning and come see for yourself. This time, Lu Su indeed kept his mouth shut and didn't inform Zhou Yu of Zhuge Liang's request as he prepared everything at the dock. The next morning, while it's still dark, Lu Su comes to the dock and waits for Zhuge Liang. And very soon, Zhuge Liang's little boat pulls up to the dock and out comes Zhuge Liang, holding a bottle of liquor in his hand. Zhuge Liang tells Lu Su, let's enter the lead ship, as they commanded the 20 ship to sail out of the harbor. Zhuge Liang tells all the ships, we're headed for Cao Cao's camp. Hearing this, Lu Su jumps out of his seat and asks Zhuge Liang, are you going to surrender to Cao Cao? Zhuge Liang laughs and tells Lu Su, sit down, enjoy a drink with me. Unnerved, Lu Su reluctantly sits down and prays that Zhuge Liang isn't going to sell him to Cao Cao. Very soon, the ships arrive outside of Cao Cao's ship fort encampment just as the early morning sun peeked out from the east. This dramatic change in temperature formed a massive fog that floated over above the Yangtze River. Zhuge Liang then tells all 20 ships to stop, start beating the drums, and yell as loud as they can as if they were charging towards Cao Cao's camp. Now, Lu Su sees Zhuge Liang is not going to sell him, but he suddenly becomes worried that he's going to suicide against Cao Cao's forces, as if Cao Cao's ship charges back at them in response, they will all surely die, as none of the ship are armed. Lu Su grabs Zhuge Liang by the arm and begs him to reconsider and head back. Zhuge Liang laughs and asks Lu Su to look outside to see if he can see anything. Lu Su looks and sees nothing in the fog, so he tells Zhuge Liang, I can't see anything. Zhuge Liang says exactly, and neither can Cao Cao. So knowing how suspicious Cao Cao is, the only thing he will do is shower us with new arrows. Sure enough, as soon as Zhuge Liang said this, hails of arrows started hitting the ships. Now, since all of the ships were stacked high with hay, the arrows are doing no damage to the ships, and with all the rower below decks, everyone is safe. Seeing this, Lu Su now understands what Zhuge Liang has planned and laughs as he tells the drummers, play louder. Very soon, there were so many arrows stuck to the front half of the ship facing Cao Cao's camp that the ship started tilting towards the front. So Zhuge Liang tells all the ships to turn around to receive the arrows from the backside. And very soon, the backside loaded up with fresh arrows from Cao Cao as well, as the ship soon balanced itself again. Sensing that they had enough fun, Zhuge Liang tells everyone to stop playing the drum and sail back. As they were leaving, Zhuge Liang steps forth from the dock and started yelling out from the mist, thank the Prime Minister for all the arrows, as he and Lu Su laughed all the way back to base camp, where Zhou Yu greeted them as he heard from guards that Zhuge Liang had sailed out in the morning. Zhou Yu sees Zhuge Liang and asks him for the arrows. Zhuge Liang points back behind him to the 20 ship that now look like porcupines and says, here are the arrows that you asked for. Zhou Yu bitterly had soldiers count every single one to make sure they were enough for 100,000, and sure enough, there was 100,000, with many more to spare. After Zhou Yu counted up the arrows, Zhuge Liang pulled Zhou Yu aside and said, I know what you're trying to do, but if we both take a step back, our time will come. But right now, we need to focus on our common enemy Cao Cao. Zhou Yu relents and agrees, and shifts the conversation to how they should attack Cao Cao. Zhuge Liang says he has an idea, and Zhou Yu responds that he also has an idea. So they both agreed to write out their ideas on the palm of their hand to show each other in secret to see if they had the same idea. So they both scribbled one character each on the palm of their hand. As they showed it to each other, they both laughed, as they had both written Huo, or the character for fire, on the palm of their hand. Now, we already seen Zhuge Liang use fire twice to neutralize enemies' numbers advantage in the past, so this was no surprise, and Zhou Yu also completely agrees with this assessment and tells Zhuge Liang that they need to keep this a secret so Cao Cao cannot prepare to counter this. Speaking of Cao Cao, he is currently storming around in camp as he had just lost roughly 150,000 arrows to trickery from Zhuge Liang. For revenge, Cao Cao dreamed up a plan of sending more spies to Zhou Yu's camp. He summons Cai Zhong and Cai He, who are relative to the late Cai Mao, and tells them that the only chance for their clan to make up for the treacheries of Cai Mao is if both of them fake surrender to Wu and act as spies in Wu's camp. They can both claim they have a grudge against Cao Cao after Cai Mao's execution, so their cover story is perfect. This way, Zhou Yu will have to believe you guys are real surrendering and not as spies. But to make sure your fake surrender doesn't turn into a real surrender, you're going to keep both your wives and kids with us as hostage. With no choice to say no, the two of them agrees and waited until nightfall before selling out with their own retinue of roughly 500 men to the Wu camp. Once there, they explained how Cao Cao executed Cai Mao without reason or proof, and how they wish to join Wu now to avenge their clan. This is a totally believable story on paper, and Zhou Yu took them in, assigned them to the vanguard unit under Gan Ning. After they left Zhou Yu's tent, Lu Su reminded Zhou Yu that neither of them brought their family, so it's most likely a fake surrender. Zhou Yu nods and tells Lu Su that it's not most likely it's a fake surrender, it's definitely a fake surrender. But they can be still useful as megaphones to send Cao Cao news that we want him to know, and when they have no use, we'll sacrifice their heads and blood to the gods to bid us good fortune before our final showdown. Just as this issue ended, Huang Gai entered Zhou Yu's camp unannounced and declared that he wanted to speak to the commander-in-chief on a matter of grave military importance. To find out what Huang Gai wants to say, come back tomorrow as we continue our lore series.